Steph. I'm back. This is my second update for Clue's Special Panning Edition. It's a Pantastic Ladies collaboration that I created. It started on June 9th, but you can still join. It's meant to be like the Parker Brothers board game. Mr. Body was murdered and you're trying to solve his murder. There are 3 categories of prompts: the suspects, the weapons, and the rooms. And each month you're going to choose 3 prompts from each of those categories. You choose the prompt, you choose the product, and then you roll a pair of dice. The dice dictate your usage goal. Once you've met your usage goal, that lead can be used in a suggestion that you submit on the Pantastic Ladies group. I will then consult my super secret spreadsheet that has a list of the participants and their unique solution, and I will eliminate one of those 3 parts for you. Eventually, hopefully someday soon, I'll be able to respond with, "Congratulations, you win, you caught the killer." That hasn't happened yet. No one has solved Mr. Body's murder, but maybe you could be first. I haven't managed to apprehend the killer either, but I do have some more evidence which I'm going to share with you. First, let's talk about the suspects that I was working on. My first suspect is Mrs. Peacock. Mrs. Peacock is represented by something blue or something in blue packaging. This is a carryover from my intro. So I have been working on the Ardency and Modster Manuka Honey Enriched Pigment in the shade Peacock. The dice told me to use this 5 times. By the first update I had used it 4 times. I did use it the 1 additional time, so Mrs. Peacock is now eligible to be used in a suggestion. In the last update, I decided to bring in Mr. Green for investigation. He is of course represented by something green or in green packaging, and I picked the KVD Super Pomade in the shade Power Green. The dice only told me to use this 3 times. I did manage to do that, so I used it all 3 times as a cream shadow. This is also meant to be used as a liner. It's also advertised as a brow pomade, and I did meet this goal, so Mr. Green can be used in a suggestion. My third suspect was Mrs. White. She was also rolled in the last update, and she is represented by something white or in white packaging. I have this Au Naturel Creme Shadow in the shade White Quartz. The dice told me to use this 10 times. I'm up to 7 already, so 3 more, and I will definitely next month be able to use her in a suggestion. The first weapon on my list was the wrench, and the wrench is something that you use to fix things. In my case, I rolled in the Bare Minerals Loose Shadow in the shade Soul. This is roughly my skin color, and I typically use it to blend out my eyeshadow looks when they get a bit out of control. The dice told me to use this 8 times. As of the first update, I had used it twice. I used it 4 more times and I'm at 6, so I still need to use it 2 more times in order to use the wrench in a suggestion. I was also still working on the candlestick from my intro. This is something that's brightening or illuminating. I picked the Japanesque Velvet Touch eyeshadow in the shade 01. It's something I usually use as an inner corner highlight. My goal was to use it 7 times. By the first update, I had used it 3 times. I did use it the remaining 4 times, so I could use the candlestick in a suggestion. My last weapon is the revolver. The revolver is a spray. I was working on the Way Leave-In Conditioner. My goal was to use this 5 times, and I did. It was initially right at the bottom of this label, which is peeling off, and now it's down here, and I can use the revolver in a suggestion. Next up is the rooms. The first room I was working on was the library, and that's represented by a palette. This is a carryover from the intro. I was using this Coastal Scents Stylized Duo. It was a sampler, and I had been given a usage goal to use this 11 times. I had only used this twice by the first intro, so I had some catching up to do. I managed to use it 6 more times, so I'm up to 8. 3 more times and I'll be able to use the library. I really didn't want anything to be in this project for longer than 2 months, but here we are with 2 of them. My second room was the dining room. This is something I brought in the last update, and it's a food-related product. This is the PBJ Smoothie Stick in the shade Guava Nice Day. It was made by the Beauty Crop. I really like this color. I can't roll it all the way up because it's broken at the base. And my goal was to use this 5 times. I did that, so the dining room is eligible for use in a suggestion. The last prompt I was working on was the Hull. The Hull is a base product. I was using the True and Luscious Angel Eyes eyeshadow primer. This is something that is too dark for me. It's in the shade Dark Nude. It's not what I wanted to buy. And I had a goal to use this 7 times. I did manage to use it the 7 times, so I was able to use the Hull in a suggestion. If you were keeping tallies, you would know that I managed to meet goals for 2 suspects, 2 weapons, and 2 rooms. However, in my first update, I had managed to complete my goal for Professor Plum and the lounge, but I couldn't use those in a suggestion because I didn't have a room to go with them. So in total, I have 3 suspects, 2 weapons, and 3 rooms to work with. I was able to make 2 suggestions because I'm again limited by the weapons, and I have some new evidence. Caena of Caena's Vanity is holding my solution for me. I wouldn't be able to play if I knew my own answer, and so I submitted my answers to her. I asked her if it could have possibly been Professor Plum with the candlestick in the lounge. Caena showed me the candlestick card, so I know that it is not the candlestick. I also suggested that it may have been Mrs. Peacock with the revolver in the hall. Caena showed me the hall, so I know the murder didn't happen there either. I started using an app called CluePad to track my evidence, and I'm going to have future me put it on the screen right here so you could see it. You're going to see some exclamation points. I'm using those to indicate that I met a goal for that prompt, but I wasn't able to use it in a suggestion yet. The question marks are for when I did use it in a suggestion, but it wasn't eliminated. And of course the red X's are for evidence that I have received and I know that it wasn't it. Now at this point I get to roll in some new prompts. And so the idea is to be working on 3 from each category. This hasn't happened to anyone yet, but it is possible that you're going to get to a point where you are not able to roll in 3 things that haven't been eliminated already. For instance, 4 of the 6 weapons might have been ruled out, but there's still 5 possible rooms that could be the crime scene. And at that point, you can make a choice. You can choose to either stick with just the 2 weapons, say the rope and the candlestick, and only work that way. Or you could choose to bring in a 3rd weapon even though you know that's not it, such as the revolver, and hope that you get new evidence. No promises though. So since I'm working on 1 suspect still, Mrs. White is rolling over, I'm bringing in 2 new suspects. The first suspect I'm going to bring in is Colonel Mustard. I did use him in a suggestion earlier, but he wasn't eliminated and I want to look at him again. For that, I'm going to use the same product I did before. It's the Lime Crime Electric Slide Eyeshadow and Brush Stick in the shade Mega. It is yellow. And I rolled my dice ahead of time because I'm filming on my phone and I don't have physical dice, so I rolled them on an app. So they're pre-rolled. I promise I didn't cheat, but they only told me to use this 3 times. So 3 uses on this to use Colonel Mustard in a suggestion. Next, I'm going to investigate Miss Scarlet for the first time. She is, of course, something red, and I'm going to use this Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Heat in the shade Hot Cherry. Once again, the dice were really nice, and they gave me a 4. So 4 uses for Miss Scarlet. For the weapons, I am still working on that wrench, so I'm going to bring in 2 of those. The first one is going to be the knife. The knife is something that you use to contour. I'm bringing the Lamasca Gel Sculpt in the shade Outline. I have a goal to use this 8 times. I would have liked the lower rolls in the weapons since I'm behind on those, but it just didn't work that way. So 8 uses on the contour stick. I am also going to use the revolver again. I used it twice and it hasn't been eliminated, so I'm just going to keep going. The revolver is still a spray and I am still going to use the Way Leave-In Conditioner. The dice told me to use this 6 times, so 6 uses on this conditioner. For the rooms, I am still working on the library, so I'm rolling in 2 rooms. The first one's going to be the lounge, which I did just use in a suggestion, but I wasn't told it was wrong, so I'm going to try again. For the lounge, it's a makeup, no makeup product. I'm going to use the same one I did before. It's the Maybelline Shinylicious Lip Gloss in the shade Berry Bella, and the dice told me to use this 6 times. The last room that I'm going to investigate is the conservatory. The conservatory is represented by a product that is either plant-based or plant-themed. I'm going to use the Han Skincare Cosmetics 100% Natural Cheek and Lip Tint in the shade Coral Hibiscus. Hibiscus is a flower, and they advertise that this product is made with only planted mineral materials. So I'm going to say that that counts. And the dice told me that I'm using this 8 times. So that's my update. I'm inching closer to Mr. Body's killer. Next update, I hope to be able to make 2 suggestions as well, and I am finally, I promise, going to be done with the wrench and the library. I wish everyone good luck with this project, and I hope everyone's still having fun hunting down the murderer. See you next month.